Well, fantastic day, children. Today we are going to learn, read, and explore the lesson Chemicals and Chemical Changes. Okay, now let's go to the introduction. You have learned about physical and chemical changes in the previous class, don't you? You know that a change in which no new substances are formed and which can generally be reversed is called a physical change. In such a change, only the properties like shape, size, color, or state of the substance get changed. The common examples of physical changes are melting of ice, melting of wax, boiling of water, and dissolution of sugar in water. The changes in which two or more substances react to form new substances having different properties are called chemical changes or reactions. Chemical changes take place around us all the time. Burning fuel, cooking food, photosynthesis, etc. are the examples of chemical changes or reactions. In this chapter, we will study more about the chemical changes. Now let's begin with matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Matter can be broadly classified into pure substances and mixtures. Pure substances can again be classified into two categories, that is, the elements and compounds. A mixture contains two or more elements together. Now let's see what are elements. A substance which is made of only one kind of atom is called an element. For example, iron, that's in this figure 6.1, is an element which is made only of iron atoms. An atom is the smallest unit of any element which retains the characteristic properties of element. Atoms combine to form a molecule. Thus, a molecule can be defined as the smallest identifiable unit into which a pure substance can be divided and still retains the composition and chemical properties of that substance. All known materials, however complicated and varied they appear, can be broken down into their fundamental elements. These elements cannot be broken down further into simpler substances. So far, scientists have discovered about 118 elements, out of which 98 elements can be found on Earth's surface and the rest can be synthesized in laboratories. Scientists have given each element a symbol. This symbol is usually the first one or two letters of the name of the element, while some are derived from their names in Latin. Some examples are in table 6.1. Now let us see the examples here. Let's see the elements and the symbol. Sodium, Na from the Latin word natrium. Potassium, K from the Latin word kalium. Iron, Fe from the Latin word ferrum. Lead, Pb from the Latin word plumbum. Okay, so these are the symbols for these elements. Got it? Different elements exist in different states in nature. For example, some elements such as iron, gold, silver and aluminium are found in solid state in nature. Some elements such as mercury exist in liquid state, while some elements such as hydrogen, chlorine and bromine exist in gaseous state. Names and symbols of common elements are given in table 6.2. Argon, the symbol is Ar. Boron is B. Bromine is Br. Chlorine is Cl. Copper is Cu. Gold is Au. Mercury is Hg. Nickel is Ni. Oxygen is O. Silver is Ag. Children, you all have to by heart these elements and symbol. You should know the symbol. Okay, it can come for the exam, so please learn it well. Compounds. A substance that is formed by the combination of two or more elements is called compound. Though there are about 118 elements only, millions of compounds can be formed from these elements. An atom is the smallest identifiable unit of an element, while a molecule is the smallest identifiable unit of a compound. If you break down a molecule of a compound, you will get atoms of its constituent elements. All compounds have properties that differ from the constituting elements. For example, hydrogen and chlorine are two different elements. They have their own properties. However, when they react with each other, a compound called hydrochloric acid is formed. Properties of hydrochloric acid are entirely different from that of either hydrogen or chlorine. Hydrogen plus chlorine is hydrochloric acid. Now let's go to the mixture. Impure substances are commonly called mixtures. A mixture contains two or more elements or compounds that are mixed in any proportion. The constituents of a mixture retain their individual properties in the mixture and they can be separated by physical means. For example, mud is a mixture of soil and water. We can separate soil and water through filtration. We can also separate the two by evaporating water, leaving the soil behind. Next we have coming up is a chemical formula. We know that the basic unit of compound is called a molecule. What is the basic unit of a compound called, children? It's called a molecule, which contains atoms of its constituent elements. Chemical formulae are used to describe the types of atoms and their numbers in an element or a compound. For example, H represents one atom of hydrogen and O represents one atom of oxygen. If we want to represent two atoms of hydrogen, instead of writing H we write H2. The subscript 2 means that the two atoms of the element hydrogen have joined together to form a molecule. A subscript is only used when more than one atom is being represented. Similarly, two atoms of oxygen are represented by O2. Hydrogen and oxygen combine to form water molecules. This is the water molecule, okay? Did you get it? That is 2 of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. Did you get it? Understood, children? Okay. 2 atoms of hydrogen plus 1 atom of oxygen, that's what I explained to this diagram, is equal to 1 molecule of water. That is H2 plus O is equal to H2O. Therefore, H2O is the chemical formula for water. Some common compounds and their chemical formulae are given in table 6.3. Okay, this is carbon dioxide. What is the chemical formula for carbon dioxide? CO2. This is sugar. So the chemical formula will be C6H12O6. Table salt NaCl. Vinegar CH3COOH. Children, you are supposed to by heart this. Okay, I'll be giving you a lovely table on the compounds, the chemicals and everything. I'm going to give you a chart. That's what I meant by table, and I want you to by heart, retain everything in your brain. You should know it. Okay, chemical change. The changes in which new substances with different properties are formed are called chemical changes. In a chemical change or reaction, the interacting substances are called reactants and the new substances formed is called product. A chemical change is always permanent. We cannot synthesize its constituent elements from a compound. Some common examples of chemical changes are burning of fuel, cooking of food, curdling of milk and digestion of food, etc. Okay, let's come to the different points of chemical reactions. Following are the different types of chemical reactions. Combination reaction, the chemical reaction in which two or more simple substances, that is reactants, combine to form a complex compound is called combination reaction. Look at the following examples of combination reaction. Burning of magnesium ribbon in the presence of oxygen is an example of combination reaction. In this reaction, magnesium and oxygen combine to form magnesium oxide, a compound. Magnesium plus oxygen gives us magnesium oxide. Burning of carbon with oxygen of air giving carbon dioxide is another example of combination reaction. In this reaction, carbon combines with oxygen and forms carbon dioxide gas. Carbon plus oxygen is carbon dioxide. Decomposition reaction, the chemical reaction in which a compound breaks down to two or more simple substances is called decomposition reaction. These types of reactions require energy which is given in the form of heat or electricity. Following are some common examples of decomposition reaction. The chemical name of lime is calcium carbonate. If you heat up the lime to a certain temperature, it will produce calcium oxide or quicklime and carbon dioxide. Calcium carbonate on heating becomes calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. When current is passed through water, it gives off its constituent elements, that those are hydrogen and oxygen in their gaseous states. This process is called electrolysis. Water, hydrogen plus oxygen. Now let's go to the displacement reaction. The chemical reaction in which an element replaces another element in a compound is called displacement reaction. For example, on heating zinc with copper sulfate, we get copper and zinc sulfate. Here, zinc being more reactive than copper replaces copper from copper sulfate. Zinc plus copper sulfate gives us zinc sulfate plus copper on reaction. Aluminium being more reactive than iron replaces iron from the iron sulfate solution and forms aluminium sulfate. Iron sulfate plus aluminium forms aluminium sulfate plus iron. Okay, now what is the activity here? Displacement reaction between copper sulfate and zinc can be studied by putting zinc powder in copper sulfate solution. The blue color of the copper sulfate solution disappears as copper is replaced by zinc. Okay, this has to be practical and it has to happen in the school laboratory. Got it? Then we'll go to the precipitation reaction. The chemical reaction in which two different compounds react with each other in solution and lead to the formation of compound that settles down at the bottom of the solution is called precipitation reaction. For example, reaction of silver nitrate solution with potassium bromide solution leads to the formation of red colored precipitate of silver bromide. Let's see this reaction. Silver nitrate plus potassium bromide gives us silver bromide plus potassium nitrate. The precipitate formed in the reaction is indicated by the downward arrow which is over here. Did you get it? Okay. Now let's move further to the characteristics of chemical reactions. All chemical reactions have the following characteristics. Now, change in energy, then is a change in state, then is change in color, release of gas and formation of precipitates. Now let's begin with the change in energy. All reactions are accompanied by energy changes. Energy usually in the form of heat is either given out and or absorbed in the reaction. The reactions in which energy is released are called exothermic reactions. Common example of exothermic reaction is the formation of water from hydrogen and oxygen. The reactions in which energy is absorbed are called endothermic reactions. Common example of endothermic reaction is a dissolution of aluminium chloride in water. Now let's go to the change in state. In many chemical reactions, physical state of substance gets changed. For example, when calcium carbonate, that is lime, is heated, it gives off carbon dioxide, which is a gas. Now change in color. When a reactant changes to a product, the latter may have a different color. For example, when the zinc powder is added to copper sulfate solution, the blue color of copper sulfate solution fades away due to the formation of zinc sulfate, which is colorless. Now, release of gas in a chemical reaction, the products formed may be gaseous state. If the reactants are in liquid state solution, the gaseous products or product is released in the form of bubbles. The gaseous product in the reaction is represented by the upward arrow. Now let's see who is this Prafulla Chandra Roy. Wow, it's an Indian. 1861 to 1944. Prafulla Chandra Roy is one of the famous scientists of India. Children, I guess we should do a what you can say mini booklet on him. Okay, research, surf the net, get his photo, stick it up and write about him. He started his career as an assistant professor of chemistry in Presidency College, Calcutta. He is the founder of Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals, the first Indian pharmaceutical company. Now, if anybody asks you, which is the first Indian pharmaceutical company, rap should come the reply, Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals. Now, who is the person who started it? It was started by Prafulla Chandra Roy. And who is Prafulla Chandra Roy? He is one of the famous scientists of India. Isn't that great for us Indians? Dr. Roy published an important paper on preparation of a stable chemical compound, mercurous nitride. This remarkable work made way for a large number of investigative papers on nitrides and hyponitrides of different metals and other compounds. He was a great patriot and was highly influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Dr. P.C. Roy is considered as the father of modern Indian chemical industry. My goodness me, such a lot of information, kids. Just prepare a lovely page on him in your journals, okay? Then change in color, okay? When a reactant changes to a product, okay, we have finished with this. Let's go here. For example, when sulfuric acid and calcium carbonate react, carbon dioxide escapes from the solution. Calcium carbonate plus sulfuric acid gives us calcium sulfate plus carbon dioxide. Now, formation of precipitates. Some chemical reactions lead to the formation of an insoluble substance that settles down at the bottom of the test tube. This insoluble substance is called precipitate. A precipitate in reaction is represented by a downward arrow. For example, when hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through the zinc chloride solution, black colored zinc sulfide precipitates out. Let's see how it happens. Hydrogen sulfide plus zinc chloride plus zinc sulfide plus hydrochloric acid. Okay, so the precipitate formed in the reaction is indicated by the downward arrow. Okay, and the gaseous product in the reaction is represented by the upward arrow. Did you get it, children? Now let's move further to rusting. You must have seen a reddish brown layer on an iron bolt or an iron screw. I have definitely seen it. If you haven't, surf the net and watch it. Okay, left in the rain or in open air. This reddish brown layer is called rust, and the process of its formation is called rusting. The chemical name of rust is iron dioxide, which is formed from the reaction of air and water on iron. Oxygen and water are two essential conditions for rusting. This is a chemical change because rusting is permanent. You cannot get original iron from the rust. Okay, keep that in mind. Iron plus oxygen, that's air, plus water gives iron oxide, which is a rust. The process of rusting becomes faster in humid atmosphere and in saline water. Now what's saline? It's salty. Okay, rusting eats up iron and particles and gradually weakens them. Rusting can be prevented by the in following ways, that is, iron sulfides can be coated with layers of oil or grease or paint, which prevents exposure to iron to air and water, of iron to air and water. This kind of protection is called barrier protection. Okay, now this is the preparation of carbon dioxide. So now this we have to do it in our laboratory. Got it, children? So when we meet, we'll do it practically. Okay. Another way is to deposit layer of metal like chromium or zinc on the iron surface. This process is called galvanization. Body of the water coolers used in a house is made of galvanized iron. Now let's see what this do you know has in store for us. Are you all eager? I'm eager too. You must have seen that the exposed surface of sliced brinjal turns black. If you haven't, go to the vegetable, the greengrocer, the vegetable vendor. Usually a better word for it is the greengrocer. Go to him, purchase a small brinjal, slice it, and you will observe it after some time it will turn black. Do you know why? Slicing damages the plant tissues. This leads to the release of an enzyme and a group of chemicals called phenolic compounds from the cells of the brinjal. The enzyme and the phenolic compounds react in the presence of oxygen and produce a brown pigment called melanin. Due to the accumulation of melanin, sliced brinjal turns black. Did you get it? This is simple and this you can do it. You will realize it. Okay? Now separation of solid from its solution. If you add a spoonful of common salt or sugar to a glass of water, you will get a solution. This is a physical change as the salt or sugar can be easily separated from solution. Now let us learn some methods to separate a solid from its solution. Evaporation. A solid dissolved in water can be separated from the solution by evaporation. If you boil the solution until the water goes off, you will get the solid in form of residue. The temperature at which a given liquid starts boiling is called its boiling point. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Once a liquid attains its boiling point, temperature stops increasing and remains constant. Evaporation method is used to extract salts dissolved in seawater. Then we have crystallization. The purest solid form of a substance having a definite geometrical shape is called crystal. If you observe a sugar granule, you will find that it is a small cube. These small cubes are called sugar crystals. Sodium chloride, commonly known as a table salt, also exists in nature in the form of crystals. The process of forming crystal of a solid substance from its solution is called crystallization. Let us learn how the crystals of table salt can be prepared. Okay? Do you know salt? Do you dissolve some salt in boiling water? The more you heat the water, more the salt dissolves. Dissolve the maximum amount of soil that is possible in the given amount of water. Now filter the solution to remove impurities that are not dissolved in water. Keep the solution in a cold place and leave it undisturbed for a few days. You will observe crystals of salt are formed at the bottom of the solution. If you keep the solution in an ice bath, crystal formation will speed up. Crystallization also helps to remove the impurities from a solid. Therefore, the salt crystals obtained by this method are free from any undesirable objects or impurities. Crystals of copper sulfate, these are the crystals of copper sulfate, can be obtained by preparing a solution in which no more copper sulfate can be dissolved. Heat the solution and leave it overnight. Next morning, you will find beautiful blue crystals of copper sulfate spread out at the bottom of the solution. Okay, now let's see what is Do You Know has for us. The iron pillar in Qutub Minar complex in New Delhi is about 1600 years old and is made up of iron mixed with some unknown elements. This pillar is completely rust proof. It is a testimony to the high level of skill achieved by the ancient Indian ironsmiths in the extraction and processing of iron. Imagine 1600, it could be more than 1600 years old. Okay, imagine their intelligence, and we take pride with all our technology that we have. See these people, they had no technology, but yet they were intelligent. Now let's go to Do You Know? The ancient names of copper sulfate are blue vitriol and blue stone. Copper sulfate pentahydrate is a fungicide. That's a chemical substance used to kill fungus. Mixed with lime, it is called Bordeaux mixture, which is used to control fungus on fruit trees. Okay, now let's rush to the points to remember. Changes take place all around us. They can be physical or chemical changes. In chemical changes, new substances with new properties are formed. An element is made up of only one kind of atom. All reactions are accompanied by energy changes. A chemical change is always permanent. Any material with a specific chemical composition is called a chemical substance. In a chemical change or a reaction, the interacting substances are called reactants and the new substance is called products. All known materials, however complicated and varied they appear, can be broken down into their fundamental elements. Crystallization helps to remove impurities from a solid. Let's wind up this lesson with the important definitions. Now, what is a substance? Any material with a specific chemical composition. What is an element? A substance which is made up of only one kind of atom. What is an atom? The smallest unit of any element which retains the characteristic properties of the element. What is molecule? The smallest identifiable unit of a compound. What is exothermic reaction? Reaction in which heat is released. What is endothermic reaction? Reaction in which heat is absorbed. What is crystallization? The process of forming crystal of a solid substance from its solution. Now, what is crystal? The purest solid form of a substance having a definite geometrical shape. Now, the final thing is, what is galvanization? It's the covering iron surface with zinc. So children, that was an interesting lesson that we had. See you soon for the next lesson. Have a nice day. Thank you.